Educate yourself.
Yeah.
I know it sounds regular.
Yeah.
I mean, educate yourself and truly educate yourself. The easiest part of this game is to spend money. The easiest part of this game is to buy a property. That's easy. That's very easy.
Yeah.
The hardest part of it is it's like the Roach Motel. You can get in, but you can't get out.
Ooh.
So for all you new investors out here, pick a side.
Yeah.
Either you're an investor or you're a retail buyer. If you're an investor, the mindset that we have, the thought pattern that we have, we don't do shit like that. We're looking for a deal that's gonna have enough built-in equity by the time we're done so that we can play. So when the market shifts, it will shift. It's not if it shifts,
right.
it's going to
When
shift.
it does.
We can't tell you when.
Right.
It's not if it's gonna shift, it will shift. So when it does shift, do you have enough room in that property that you bought that when you could absorb that problem, right? Yeah. So the people that are buying today that are all excited and they're giving each other high fives and you see the celebrations and they're busting up they popping the bottles saying congratulations. I feel sorry for them because you know what I see in them? I see me. 2004, that was me. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a process to that. Yeah. So me, I stick to the game plan. Yeah. If the deal don't make sense, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video.
Pay attention and listen, we about to teach class. Inside the vault, my man Ask Cash. So get your man right. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. You see him, change your life. Millionaire mindset, the best on earth. Blueprint of wealth, the knowledge network. So get it while you can, and he's standing right here. Just come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You won't Ask Cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.
All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ask Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. When I tell you that this next episode is going to be power, packed with bars, packed with inspiration, packed with motivation. If you are not inspired, if you don't believe that you can do and have and be anything that you put your mind to, then we are doing you a disservice. I have my brother Welby Accely. What's up, brother? At my best 197.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
I'm excited about this interview for so many different reasons because a lot of times, people have the started from the bottom story. You started from the bottom, made it, lost it, and then got it again.
And then lost it again.
And then lost it. Oh, see, I didn't even know you lost it again, right? And so that's one of the things that is the sign of a true hustler, the sign of somebody who is destined for greatness, because greatness doesn't have anything to do with the amount of money you have. It's about the will. It's about the tenacity. It's about being relentless. And so I want to talk about this because there's a lot of people who are afraid to fail. They're afraid to go into certain ventures because of what could potentially happen. But you're a testament of what will happen if you don't go after it. But before we even go there, for those who don't know, who is Welby Accely?
First off, thank you for the introduction. Second off, I'm super humbled even being here because this was one of my goals. Of being on this stage sitting with you.
Manifestation in real life.
Man, listen, it was, and I know a couple of people reached out to you, unbeknownst to me, about it, and the fact that I'm even here, I'm like super humbled about it. So thank you for that. Second thing, I'm first generation Haitian American. I'm one of 5 boys that my parents had, and I'm from New York, born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, Queens, New York, and now I reside in Nassau County, New York. And that's me, basically, man. You know, my parents were, well, you Haitian too, so you know how it is. They came to this country. Their goal was to give their children a better life. So we were born here. All of my siblings were born here. Then they sent us back to Haiti for a couple of years. So that's how I learned to pick up the language initially. And then they brought us back. And then if anybody taught us the game of hustle and grinding was my parents. And then from there, you know, that's basically me, man. I just, you know, that's me.
Yeah. And so, like, you're the king of fix and flip, man.
No,
like,
man.
The king of fix and flip.
I'm not the king of, I mean, I'm not the king of fix and flip. Listen, man, I just do what I do, you know, like I've been through a lot, you know, which we'll talk about, and I want to expose that to the people, you know what I'm saying? Because people look at you, for example, and a lot of the people that are maybe doing what I'm doing, and they only see the end result of what we're doing. But I want you to understand, like, the journey that I've been through to get to this point, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. And so how many properties do you own right now?
Well, I flip a lot of houses in the last, well, now I'm averaging this year, I'm going to close out on at least 35, 40 flips this year. Last year, I did close to that amount as well. Then the years before that, it dwindled down, but we'll talk about it in the history. But in the last 4 years or so, I did well over 80 plus flips I've done. But we'll talk about the growth of what it took me to get to that point to scale, because at the beginning of my career, I was a walking disaster, you know, so,
Yeah, and I think for me, that's one of the reasons why, you know, I felt it was important for us to have this conversation, because there's so many people who are in the space who do real estate, but, you know, they make it look good, right? They make it look sexy. They make it look like, yo, this is what you got to do, or this is where you need to be. But I see you in your car. I see, you know, you got you know, tenants that, you know, that are not paying you. Like there was a viral video that went out there where you know, you had to literally you know, kick a tenant out. But even in kicking a tenant out who didn't pay for a while, you did still help her. Like, talk about that journey, you know, that real estate journey and the grind that it really takes to be successful.
Well, first off, like when people ask me where was the seed that was planted in my mind about being in real estate, was I talk about growing up in the projects in Brooklyn, and my godfather used to come in and visit us. And my godfather, he was affluent, at least to where we were at in our lives. And he would come with a nice vehicle. He was always dressed nice. And he would take me and my brothers to go visit him in Long Island. And one of the things as having Haitian parents, you know, they're overly protective of us. So we weren't allowed to ride our bicycles living in the projects in the street. We would only have to ride our bikes in the cul-de-sac. And the cul-de-sac wasn't that big. It was just a big circle, and all we would do was ride our bikes in the circle. So when my godfather would take us to Long Island, and we would go and, you know, it's the suburbs, he would say, hey, you out here in the suburbs, take the bike and go ride. And it blew my mind that I was able to ride my bike in the middle of the street. I can't even explain to you how much that influenced me, being able to ride my bike in the middle of the street. And being over the couple of years, I'm understanding that he was able to have the lifestyle he had and provided for his wife and his kids utilizing real estate. He had his own brokerage. He had 2 or 3 properties at the time, and that influenced me. So what ended up happening is, obviously, we all do the normal thing. We go to school, you know, we want to get a degree, or, you know, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, an attorney, or something to that effect, then you're a failure in most, what do you call those people? Most foreigners' minds, right? So I fell into that trap too. I wanted to be a lawyer. So I went to school for a year or 2 doing that, only to realize that it wasn't for me, you know? So then from that point, I started working. I was a security guard working, doing bike patrol. So you could imagine it was a joke looking at my slim ass being a security guard in a parking lot doing bike patrol, right? And then not too long after that, I got blessed with an opportunity to be employed and be gainfully employed with one of the large companies. I don't really speak on that, but a large company. And then I just started my career working. And while I was working, I was making money, but
What's money?
I mean, I topped out at 6 figures, but I could only do as much as what I can physically invest. So my money was tied to how much I could invest physically, meaning how many hours I could invest. So you could work 40 hours, you could work 60 hours a week, you could work 80 hours a week, but there's a physical cap to what you can do. And I lived with my back against the wall.
Yeah.
I did like a lot of other people did. I looked the part. I was driving a nice car. I dressed nice. I had all the expensive things, and I was dying. Financially, I was going through it, you know, and
even making 6 figures.
It's not. I realized it's not about the money. It's about what you do with the money. So I used to chase the dollar thinking that, damn, you know what, if I'm making $15 an hour, I swear to God, if I could hit $18 an hour, I'm good.
Right.
You get to the $18 an hour, and then you say, damn, if I get to $18 an hour, I get to $25 an hour, I'm good. You get to the $25 an hour, and it wasn't the money, it was me. You know, it was me, I was the problem. So I had to have real serious conversations with myself. As much as difficult as they were, I had to have these honest conversations with myself, and I denied it to myself for a number of years. I kept looking the other way with it until eventually, you know, I got smacked in the face. You know?
Wow. And then so what was that? What was that thing that lit up that said, yo, even though I'm making 6 figures, I'm chasing this dollar, but I'm a slave to the dollar, really, and I'm not really financially free. What was that thing that woke you up?
The thing that woke me up, I don't even think it was just that. I used to talk a lot. I'm not as calm as I am now until I start talking about real estate, right? But I used to talk a lot. And I used to talk about all the things that I want to do. I used to talk, and I would think that because I went to YouTube University, I read a handful of books, I learned certain large acronym words, I knew something. And then I would be that guy that was in the middle of the circle talking a whole lot of shit in the middle of the circle because I wanted to sound like I knew what the hell I was talking about when I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Then one day, someone that I respected, an elder that I respected, was paying attention and watching me talk. Then one day he said to me, behind me, while it was in front of a whole bunch of people, and he said, man, shut the fuck up.
Wow.
In front of everybody. He said, all you do is talk. Yo, he embarrassed me when he said that. But I respected him, so it's not like I want to come at him and attack him in a negative way. Then he pulled me to the side. And he says to me, yo, I hear you talk so much. You want to do this, you want to do that. When the hell you going to do it? That's what hit me that day. That's what hit me that day. And one of the things that I really wanted, I was always a hustler. I was always grinding. I was always working. I was really good at saving money, but I wasn't really doing nothing. And that was the day that it hit me. And I knew that I wanted to be involved in real estate. It hit me, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go and get me a piece of property, right? And that's what started my real estate journey.
Wow. And I love that. And so, you know, I know you mentioned your godfather, and he was into real estate. You know, now you had the OG in your ear. You know, pulling your car about not being, you know, an executor. And you're like, yo, I wanna be in real estate. Did you know that real estate provides that level of scalability to wealth, right? Because like you mentioned, like, yo, even if I was making 6 figures and I'm working a 9 to 5, there's a cap because I'm exchanging time for money.
I didn't understand that. I'd be lying to you if I told you I understood that concept. I didn't understand that concept until, honestly, 5-6 years ago. So we're talking a number of years ago when this occurred. I wanted real estate. I was influenced by real estate, but I was doing real estate at the time because everybody was doing real estate. So and not only everybody's doing real estate, it was the thing to do, and I wanted to look cool doing real estate because don't forget, HGTV started popping at that time. HGTV started glamorizing real estate and making it look cool and easy. I want to do that. I want to do that too. They flipping houses, and they made that house the princess house, and they made that house the Dracula house, and they made that house the president house, whatever theme that people were doing, and I thought that was what real estate was. I got caught up. And then on top of that, everybody was talking about being a landlord. Everybody was talking about owning and renting at the time.
Yeah.
Yo, damn, I could buy me a handful of properties and I can make money. I don't have to do no work.
Yeah.
I want that too.
Yeah.
They were gassing me up. They were setting me up. And when I say they, I'm talking about the powers that be that know how to package things and make it look wonderful so they could get to you. That's why I talk to the people today in 2020, 2021 about that. Because it's the same shit that's happening today. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw those things occurring and happening, I didn't realize it at the time, but I got caught up. So I want to do real estate.
Right.
So when I decided to get into real estate, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what my intentions were. I didn't know why did I buy that particular property that I buy. What was my end goal of buying it? I just wanted to buy it, and it's going to work itself out.
Wow.
And I got slapped in the face.
Yeah.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hold on, don't press that button because that's what I do every time I'm looking at an ad that I don't want to see. This ad just happened to be life-changing. I just happen to own one of the biggest home healthcare companies in the state of Georgia. I can help you create your own. Just to give you a little bit of insight, I send out registered nurses, LPNs, and CNAs to take care of people inside of the homes that cannot take care of themselves. But guess what? You don't have to have any medical background and you don't have to have any medical knowledge. So if you're wanting to change your life and you have a passion for actually taking care of people, then go ahead and sign up for Home Healthcare Blueprint. I'll see you guys later.
And that's what I was going to ask, right? You wanted to buy it and it was going to work itself out. So you had the vision, if you will, but not the plan, right? So
I won't even call me I had a vision. I had the hope. I had the hope of it, but I didn't have the plan. And if you want to call it the vision, I had the veil put over my eyes. Yeah. And we'll talk about it more in depth about the.
Tell us like what being slapped in your face. So you went in, and you went in blindly. What happened that had it crashing all down?
So after the big. The brother that said that to me and embarrassed me in front of the people, it hit me to say, you know what? I keep talking about what I want to do. When am I going to start taking action, right? But I took action without a plan. So the first thing that I did, I decided I wanted to start investing in Atlanta. The reason why I wanted to go to Atlanta is being from New York, this is 2004 now. Atlanta became the Mecca for African Americans and minorities. Everybody was flocking to go to Atlanta. So I said, I want to go to Atlanta too. I wasn't moving to Atlanta. I wanted to start investing in Atlanta. So I ended up coming up to Atlanta. And when I came to Atlanta in November of 2004, I said, I'm not leaving here until I have me a property that I buy. At that time, everybody know about the subprime mortgages. Everybody knows about these, right? So subprime mortgages, as long as you had a pulse, you were getting a mortgage. So I knew I would be able to get the mortgage, and I knew that I didn't have to put no money down. Not only I didn't have to put no money down, I didn't even have to put the closing cost in because they were doing 106% financing, right? Ooh. Remember those days? So
I was a banker in those days.
You understand that?
I ate good.
So now,
allegedly.
So now, when I came up here to do that, I got introduced to a realtor. So now I'm young. I'm a kid, and when you really think about it. So I'm ambitious. I have a dream. I have a plan. Or not a plan, excuse me, I have a goal. So I'm wearing my heart on my sleeves and I'm exposing myself to you and I'm telling you, listen, this is what I want to do. I came here from New York, I want to buy a piece of property and I'm putting my heart and soul into you to tell you what I need and what I want. I'm expecting you as an elder, I'm expecting you as a sister to look at me and say, damn, I want to help this brother and I can still make money. That's not what happened. So I got the mortgage people involved, so I got approved for a mortgage. I got a realtor involved. And then also the realtor introduced me to a contractor, which we'll talk about that. So we looked around, and I ended up finding me a 4-unit building in Pine Lake, Georgia. We just actually came from it today. I went to go look at it today, 15 years later. That was my first piece of property. So I bought it in 2004. When I was buying it, I was talking to the realtor, going back to when I said I thought I educated myself. I tried to keep up. I said, hey, what's the ROI of this property? Yo, what's the LTV of this property? Trying to, I don't understand.
Sound the part.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you, bro? I'm trying to play the part. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody here in 2021. I see you. Because I see you in me. What you're doing is exactly what I did. So when you have experience and you see somebody with limited experience coming to you, you can see them from a mile away. You don't have to say nothing. All you gotta do is speak to me for 30 seconds and I'm gonna tell you what position you in.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I gained the experience.
Yeah.
So when this lady represents to me that the property is a 4-family, she represented to me that the property would be able to rent out for at least $1,000 per apartment.
Yeah.
Right? So if you tell me it could be rented out for at least $1,000 per apartment, she even implied that we can get maybe condos out of it. The guys that came with me today to go look at the property, because they have a level of experience, there's no way you could have done that. But I didn't know. She also told, so when she told me that, I then go to the mortgage guy. The mortgage guy gets me the mortgage and he gets me a mortgage, and the mortgage altogether is $2,000 a month. So if I did the quick basic math, I'm pulling in $4,000 a month, $2,000, I'm gonna get me a property manager like everybody's doing right now, because hey, I'm a boss now. I don't wanna do nothing, right? Because I'm a businessman now, right? I buy the property, she then introduces me to the contractor, right? So then she introduced me to the contractor represents to me, it's gonna cost me $20,000 to get this whole place up and running. I'm a young kid. Why would this guy lie to me? Why would this guy gas me up and tell me he could do something? Because I just want to do business. I want to buy more. Long story short, the contractor starts doing his work, waiting on the work every day, every other day I'm reaching out to him. He's not answering my phone calls. There's some list of excuses, and every time there's a list of excuses, the fault is mine, not his. But you're the expert. Come over, finally come back to see where the property is at. After spending the $20,000, the property looked worse than I originally gave it to him.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So now I have to get rid of this guy to scrounge up to find more money to get this place up and running to whatever level I can finally get it to.
Wow.
I finally get it.
Now, are you living in Atlanta at the time?
I never moved to Atlanta. I'm doing everything from New York. I'm doing everything from New York. This is partly when people started making it sexy to invest out of state. I'm not against that, but we'll talk about that too, right? So what ends up happening now, I come back, I have to get another contractor. I do the best that I can. I had the mentality like a lot of landlords do. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna live here. Somebody's gonna live here. So I just did whatever I had to do. Now I put it on the market to get rented. The best that I can get out of that apartment building was $500 a month per apartment. So that's $2,000 a month.
So you even now because your mortgage is $2,000.
The property manager hasn't even been paid yet. So the property manager gets 10% of what I gross. So I'm now, that's $200. So I'm negative. I'm negative 200, right? Not to mention now I still got to pay for whatever utilities is attached to the property owner plus the water. So I'm down another $200. So from the gate of me owning this property, I'm in the hole $600 a month. From the gate. We're not talking about the what ifs of life. We're not talking about when the tenant doesn't pay. We're not talking about when the boiler breaks and you got to replace it. Let's forget about all that. I'm in the whole $600. So imagine now, for 2 years, I'm fighting for my life. For 2 years, I'm fighting to save this because I'm a proud man from New York buying over here. And my credit is on point. I paid to buy a piece of property that's not performing and I got to survive. Imagine that. Then I did what everybody else is doing today. Let me refinance myself out. That's the game they doing today. I refinance myself out. What do you think happens on the refinance? From 220 mortgage when I bought the property now went up to a mortgage went up to 240. So now I'm more in the hole. So I'm more in the hole, and I keep fighting to a point now. Sometime around 2008, I can't do it no more. I'm broke, bro. I'm broke. Nobody told me this, right? Where's this realtor at that had love for me? She's gone. Where's this mortgage person that was looking out for me? He's gone. Where's this contractor? He's gone. The only person that's standing there is me with tenants that aren't paying now. I had to give it up. I had to stop paying. So I stopped paying. Now I start getting hit. My credit is getting hit. Right? Not to mention I borrowed $40-something thousand from Bank of America because I'm trying to save my life. Right? Now I ain't paying Bank of America. It went like that for a year. By the time it goes a year now, one day I get a notification, yo, your property's up for auction. My property's up for auction. I had to let it go, bro. I couldn't do it no more. Goes to auction. The same property that I paid at the time $220,000 for, that I refinanced for $240,000 for, went to auction and sold for $60,000. You know the blow that it goes? You know the blow that happens to you? You know the blow that happens to your ego? And then my credit goes from a 700 to a 500. Nobody can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing about this business and about the hardship. End up going back there with my tail between my legs. Lost foreclosure on my name. Right. It's a wrap. I can't do nothing anymore. And then I had to start rebuilding.
Wow. And I, I kind of want to unpack that a little bit because it's powerful, right? Like, a lot of people, again, because, especially today, because there's so many people talking about real estate and how you could build wealth with real estate, which is an actual thing. You can actually build wealth with real estate, but
here's the thing. I got to touch on it, man.
Yeah.
The thing that frustrates me for the people, I tell you people, you got to hold us accountable. If I'm telling you what I'm telling you, you got to hold me accountable for it. If I go to the doctor and the doctor's telling me that, hey, we got to do X, Y, Z to you because you need to be, we need to help you to be healthy, I need to see your resume. I don't want you to guinea pig on me. So too many of the people are accepting what people are saying at face value, and that's good enough. Only to find out that that person that's telling you that shit don't even know what the hell he's talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So because of social media now, you have anybody could come up on a YouTube page or an Instagram page and then represent themselves whatever the hell that they want. And that's good enough. That's good enough. You have to hold us accountable. That's how I personally feel about it.
And that's why, it's powerful because, a lot of people are being led astray, right? You could build wealth, but if you're not building it the right way, you could kind of lose it all. Like in your case, you took this chance, right? You say, look, I'm gonna be relentless. I'm gonna go after this dream, but I don't know the people. I don't know who got my best interests at heart. And so now you lose this property. How'd you get back into the game?
Honestly, bro, I went back to work and I started grinding. People don't want to hear that that's part of it. You need money in real estate. I don't care what anybody tell you. You need money to do real estate business, bro. If you don't have it personally yourself, you have to find it somewhere. You have to get it somewhere. So I went back to work and I just started working. I started grinding. I started hustling, bro. I started selling cars. I was buying cars off of Craigslist when Craigslist was really popping. That maybe wasn't in really that great a condition. Buy it, take it to another place to clean it up and make it look better, and then sell it for another $1,000 or $2,000 more. Then take that $1,000 and instead of spending it so I could go and buy me, so I could go on a trip and live my best life, so I could look like I'm living my best life, I took that $1,000 and I stacked it. And I stacked it and I stacked it. And then, I built myself up financially so I can get back into the game again. It took me a couple of years. So then a couple of years later, I got back into the game. I started doing business in New York, and I started making some money. What happened at that time is the market started going crazy. Market started shooting up. So if you throw crap on the wall, anybody was shining at that time. Anybody was shining at the time. And I ran into another gentleman that I gave my heart and soul out of what I wanted to do. I still didn't take the time out to study the game, even after losing it. I was looking for other people to put me on and to hold my hand and to show me love and to help me, rather than for me to take control of my life. I was banking on them to do it. So they saw the sucker coming again. They saw it coming again. So he gassed me up, told me what I wanted to hear, and I said, let's do it. Only for me to buy that property, and then he abandoned me. Because only to find out later on that the property I was buying was a property that belonged to him in another LLC that he had his brother buy with him that was trying to get out. So they found the sucker, right? I had sucker written across my head, and I bought it. Because he said he got my back. I ended up buying it, and he bails on me. The only thing that was a blessing for me was that the market was shooting up, like it's happening now. So everybody right now looks like a star. Every realtor right now look like a star. Every mortgage person right now look like a star. Because all you gotta do is throw shit to the wall today and it's gonna sell. So my property sold and I banked me over $100,000. And then I did it again in Queens, right? I got gassed up. I thought I knew what I was doing. So then since I knew what I was doing, I doubled back and I came back to Atlanta again. When I came back to Atlanta again, I bought me another property in Duluth County. So when I bought another property in Duluth County, this time instead of being a landlord, I'm gonna flip a house. So now when I went to buy it, I bought the property right. I figured what the rehab course was gonna be, and I figured I have me a contractor that could do the job for me. The ball started working, the contractor screwed me something big time again.
Wow.
Big time again. Long story short, by the time I finished that property, much longer than it was supposed to be, I ended up selling that property for a major loss. Major loss, but with that major loss, I got a check for the balance that was left of $90,000. And the $90,000 is what I used to start rebuilding up my portfolio again.
Wow. And so how do you, like, if someone's listening right now, right? Because I'm hearing, the pattern, right, of trusting, number one. Number two, not doing for self, like really, it goes hand in hand with trusting, but it's like you're not taking full responsibility. You're kind of leaving your destiny in somebody else's hand.
Right.
But somebody hearing that right now knows that real estate can be a great equalizer. Like real estate could really help you build wealth. What are the things that you look for to make sure that someone's not taking advantage, that you are buying real estate the right way?
The biggest thing I stressed is that I should have properly educated myself.
Yeah.
I didn't. Here's the thing for us, our community.
Yeah.
I never had a big homie put me on to nothing. Everything you see I'm doing today, I learned that shit getting punched in the face. That's how I learned it, right?
Yeah.
So now when you got other communities, it's embedded in them from birth because it's just a natural conversation. And you already know how it is when you have kids and you start using swear words and you're not even realizing you're talking around them, and all of a sudden you're like, how the hell did she pick up that word? Because it's just they're involved and this is what it is. So when you have when you have other communities that they're big on financial freedom, they're big on real estate, it's just embedded in the kid coming up. I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So I had to keep doing trial and error. And then what I kept doing is I kept skipping processes. I kept saying, no, it got to be a faster way to do this than the way I'm doing it, because this shit is taking too long. Because the people on TV is telling me that I could be a million in the next 30 days. So this is taking too long, So I kept jumping on that. Then what I kept doing is I kept betting on other people. I lost more money ever in my life when I kept betting on other people
instead of betting on yourself.
Instead of betting on myself. But then the problem that I have is that every time it was time for me to bet on myself, I found every excuse for me not to bet on myself. But I'm gonna bet on him. So if you would have came to me and said, yo, Welby, man, you just saved up $50,000. Give me that $50,000 because I could do X, Y, Z for you, that $50,000. I'd be so quick to do it. Because he has to do it because he's showing me like he's doing it, right? He has to do it. It got to be a faster way because I act like I'm that intelligent, but I'm not, right? Only to do it, and then this person burns me. Burns me. But then every time when it's time for me to say that same $50,000 I have in my hand, let me use it and invest it. Let me do something with it. I found every excuse for me not to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just me. A lot of us are doing that. A lot of us are doing that. And the day that I decided, you know what, man, if anybody's gonna F this money up, it's gonna be me. If anybody's gonna take these L's, it's gonna be me. The day I decided that is when shit started changing for me.
And then before we get to that like revelation that you had to do for self, like where did that lack of confidence come from? Like that mindset of not wanting to do for self or like leaning on people. Where did that come from?
I don't think that growing up, I lacked confidence in myself. Growing up, I did. But when I started coming into my manhood, I didn't lack confidence in myself. I was lazy. I can honestly say that. I was lazy. And then it's not supposed to be this hard. Because they tell me it's not this hard. They show it's not this hard. Look at me, look at what I'm doing. So then I gotta be doing something wrong. Because these guys are getting to it. And then on top of that, I thought that success was the image. This guy pulled up in a Benz. Growing up, you would know how it goes. If a person had a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz, even if it was 3-4 years old in the 90s and early 2000s, that dude was getting money. That's right? Right? So because he was pulling up doing that, he had to have been getting money.
Right.
To only find out later that they weren't. They were just looking for the next sucker to come in line, and that's how they were making it. And the way that it was proven is that when the crashes happened, those same people today still haven't recovered. Those same people today still haven't recovered.
Yeah.
So if you really about your business, where you at?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So
so now, you know, you went through these losses, right? A loss ain't a loss, it's a lesson, right?
But you hearing this,
Yeah.
and we're just talking real estate.
Yeah.
Man, you go and you check out my bio, the other losses I went through, you be like, Welby, how the hell you still here? I was investing in a water park in upstate New York, Goshen, New York.
Yeah.
So anybody want to check it out, if they Google search Go Ocean Water Park Scam. And if you read it, victim number 4 is me.
Wow.
And that was a multi-million-dollar water park scheme that a partner of mine I was investing in, that I owned 40% of the project, embezzled $6 million out of it, and then got the federal government involved and were tapping my phone and the other people's phone. I thought that it was only me and a handful of other investors. It was actually 27 other investors that she duped. And there was $400 and something thousand of my money tied into it in investments that I did that got wiped out.
Wow.
So I lost it all.
Wow.
You understand? So if anybody want to Google search that, and if you look it up, it's all public record.
Yeah.
Liliana Traficante. That was my partner. Google search it and you'll see. So when I talk about the ups and downs about life and ups and downs about investing and getting to it, there's nothing nobody could tell me.
Right.
I'm not saying I know everything. But nobody could tell me about the stresses. That nobody could tell me about worrying about how you're gonna pay your bills this month. You can't tell me nothing about that because I've been there, done that. I'll never forget that day, bro. I was in my bathroom, I closed the door, locked it, and I had a little light up above, a little light, like a silhouette type of light up above, and I'm looking in the mirror, and as a grown man, bro, I start crying. I start crying, bro, and I had to be real with myself. I don't care if I lied to the world, bro. Let me put a facade for everybody, right? But don't lie to yourself at this moment. And I had to be real with myself. And I said, yo, I don't want this no more. I don't want to live like this no more. This shit with my back against the wall, every month, every week, I'm not living like this no more. That was my conversation for myself. Crying like a baby, bro. Wiped my eyes, cleared my face. Nobody had to know. And I addressed it for myself and I said, yo, I'm going to do this. Somehow I know I'm going to do this, bro. And then I just got back to it. You know what I'm saying? I worked 60-hour day weeks, 70-hour weeks. I had my friends, even the coworkers at the time, laughing at me. Why the hell is Welby? Why everybody's out on a Friday night? Why everybody's away to Jamaica partying? Welby's grinding and working. You understand what I'm saying? While everybody was buying their new cars and everything like that, I'm grinding and I'm working, laughing at me. Welby fell off. I went through all of that, bro. I went through all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I said, I got to do this. I have to do this. And that's what I did.
And that's powerful because I think that there's somebody listening and watching right now who can relate to trying things time after time and failing, and really that, you know, that revelation of being real with yourself is very important because a lot of us get to those dark places and some of us don't come out. Right? Some of us get to those dark places and don't come out, and you got to the dark place, but instead of getting in a position where you're like, I'm just going to give up, like you kept going. Like where does that relentlessness come from? Where does that energy that says, you know what, like this is gonna work? Where does that come from?
Yo, bro, I gotta give it to God, bro. And I don't know. I can't even tell you. I got an unbelievable belief in myself, bro. I just, if I want it, I'm gonna get it. Somehow or another, I'm gonna get it, man. And I don't know. I really don't know. If I was gonna tell you this is the reason why, I'd be lying to you, bro. I believe in myself like that, man. And I believe like, yo, if Ash is able to do something, he bleeds just like me. Why can't I do it? If that's what I want. That's what I want. And then on top of that, man, I stay in my lane, bro. Not everything is for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And not everything is for me. And sometimes I have to go through those motions to realize that this isn't for me. Maybe this is mine. And once I started realizing my path, man, I own it, bro. I own it, man. So this is mine. And when I got an understanding of what I feel one of the jobs that God put me on this planet to do, I own it.
Yeah.
And one of my job to do is to give you guys the truth of this, bro. It's to give you guys the truth. The reward is the trinkets that you have. The reward is the car that you have, the house that you have. But I want you guys to understand the work that it took to do it.
Yeah.
I want you guys to understand the hell that you have to go through to do it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I believe one of my purposes on this planet is to do.
Yeah. And so fast forward, you've created financial freedom for yourself. You broke generational curses. You are training thousands of people to do, build wealth, with real estate. You're a restaurateur, logistic company. Like you have all of these things. What's different now than before?
I understand that the path is not easy, or it's never as easy as it looks, or you think it's gonna be, and then to follow the processes. That's what it is. To follow the processes. If we want to talk specific about real estate, understanding and accepting the fact that there's gonna be more doors closed in your face than will ever be open, and that it's a volume based business in a lot of ways, and that you have to continue pushing and pushing regardless how many doors get closed in your face, because you're just looking for that next deal and opportunity. So I've learned that. I've learned that you can't do everything on your own. To have good people around you, like-minded people around you. One of my other biggest things is, man, I lead with my love, with my heart, bro. With love, man. I really do, and I found that when my intentions is pure and my intentions is to do the right thing, that I don't know what it is, bro. It always comes back to me. It always does. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it always comes back to me.
I mean, honestly, though, everything comes back to you, right? Because what happens is that when you lead and your intentions are pure, that comes back to you because your intentions are pure. When you lead and your intentions are not pure, what you're doing is attracting, pure intentions, and people are going to get over on you. People are going to screw you over. People are going to get away, right? Because if you hustle, if you try to hustle somebody going to hustle you.
Eventually.
Right. If you doing right by people, people will do right by you. Eventually. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's just the law. Right, that's just the law of the universe. And so, right now, there's an 18-year-old or someone, a young person watching this, or maybe they're not even young. They're like, listen, I want to start getting into real estate. What's the first step? What are they doing?
Educate yourself. I know it sounds regular. I mean, educate yourself and truly educate yourself. The easiest part of this game is to spend money. The easiest part of this game is to buy a property. That's easy. That's very easy. The hardest part of it it's like the Roach Motel. You can get in, but you can't get out. Right? So that's what it is with the game. So if you're an 18-year-old and you're an ambitious person, definitely get yourself a mentor. If you can find somebody that's willing to mentor you, that's truly doing what they're representing to you, and stick with them like a sponge. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I would tell them to do. If you're not able to do that, you do have a lot more access than what we had growing up. So make sure that the people that you're looking at and that you're looking up to, these influencers, are truly doing what they're representing to you. Yo, bro, I meet them all. They all know me. They all know me. They all know me. And I'm not gonna fight your fight for you. I'm not calling nobody out. This is not gonna be a quote unquote world star moment. That don't happen. I have the utmost respect for everybody. But what I am saying to you is that the person that you get in the education from, yo, it's a big difference when somebody's giving you a theory of something and then the application of something. It's a huge difference. So with today's times, you have access to to the information, but make sure that who is regurgitating it to you is actually doing what they're representing to you.
Is that why you do ride-alongs? Because I know that you you do ride-alongs where you actually take people to actual properties to actually see the process. Is that what it is?
When I started doing the ride-alongs, when I started building up my I started feeling confident enough in what I knew and that I can give it back to the people. I always ask myself, what is it that I wish that I had? And what I wish I had is that somebody literally took me into a situation or a property, and then when they were explaining certain things in terms of the rehabbing or in terms of whatever, the cash flow or whatever, that I can actually see it. Because real estate is real.
Yeah.
It's not something.
Concept. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's real.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I said I wanted to do what you call a ride along, what I call a ride along as well. A lot of other people do it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I wanted to take people on a ride along to properties that I own.
Yeah.
And every property I took the people to, they were all my own properties. I encouraged them to validate that fact that these properties are mine, and that I would take them, and then each of the properties would be at different stages. So then now, it's amazing when you see the light bulb hit.
Yeah.
So you imagine that a person initially came and met with me that day, and we talking about it. Then I'm taking them to the actual examples that we're talking about, and then we coming back at the end of the day to have an in-depth conversation about it. Their conversation is totally different versus what it was in the morning time. So that's the reason why I wanted to do that. But then at the same time, we're in 2020, 2021, you know, going into 2022. So you can't touch everybody in that way.
Right.
So that's the reason why, even with me doing the online courses that I have, that I wanted it to be as authentic as possible. I wanted it to be from my perspective, from what I'm doing now, what I've experienced, as authentic as possible, because you're not gonna call me out and I don't have an answer to what I've been representing to you. I'm not putting myself in a position like that, you know? So that's the reason why I started doing those type of events.
Yeah, and then so what's the philosophy that you use in real estate, right? Because I've heard, you know, people do wholesaling, people do, you know, you buy it, you flip it. Some people do buy and hold. Some people do out-of-state investing. You know, some people, find tax liens. Some people do foreclosures. Like, what's your strategy, and what has worked for you, and what is the strategy that you use?
To be honest with you, I've done a multitude of all of those things, right? And then what I realized is, you've heard this acronym before, but I like to kiss everything I'm involved in. So keep it simple, stupid, right? So that's what I do. So I want to keep everything simple. I don't care if you're buying a foreclosure. I don't care if you're buying a tax lien. I don't care if you're buying a buy and hold. I don't care if you're buying something that you heard a grandmother passed away and you buying it down the block. I don't care if you're buying a short sale. That's all irrelevant to me. That don't matter. The source of where I'm acquiring the property is irrelevant to me. That's just different avenues of finding the property. What's a priority to me is to understand my intentions with that property. So for example, if I'm buying that property, that's gonna be a flip. If my goal is that I'm gonna flip this particular property, I have to be buying a property that's a distressed or underperforming property at a certain price point, so that by the time I factor in what my rehab cost is gonna be, I have enough room so when I sell that property, that there's enough equity, built-in equity in that property, that I'm gonna make X amount of money on that property. There's a process to doing that. I used to skip that process and just throw shit to the wall and I'm gonna make money, right? And you could do it one time, like the people today. Can you please tell the people in 2021, all you guys right now doing it, bravo. Bravo, keep doing it.
Right.
I wanna hit you, I wanna see you when the market shifts. When the market shifts. There's a process to that. If I'm looking to rent a property, my process is what I'm gonna be buying X amount of doors. Me, I only buy 3 units or more, because my market allows that. 3 units, 4 units, 6 units. So if I'm gonna buy a property based off of how much I'm buying the property for, I'm buying only distressed or underperforming, period. I don't do retail. So distressed or underperforming. So for all you new investors out here, pick a side. Either you're an investor or you're a retail buyer. If you're an investor, the mindset that we have, the thought pattern that we have, we don't do shit like that. We're looking for a deal that's gonna have enough built-in equity by the time we're done so that we can play. So when the market shifts, it will shift. It's not if it shifts, it's going to shift. We can't tell you when. It's not if it's gonna shift, it will shift. So when it does shift, do you have enough room in that property that you bought that when you could absorb that problem? Right? So the people that are buying today that are all excited and they're giving each other high fives, and you see the celebrations and they're busting up they pop in the bottles saying congratulations. I feel sorry for them, because you know what I see in them? I see me. 2004, that was me. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a process to that. So me, I stick to the game plan. If the deal don't make sense, I'm not buying it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the model that I do. That's how I approach things.
And so for those who don't know, right? You said there's an investor and then there's a retail buyer. What is a retail buyer?
You pay what the market claims that it's worth.
Okay.
Right?
And so if you buy it at retail, the market says this property's 200,000, you buy it at 200,000. If a property, so you're saying that your strategy is finding room as an investor. It has to be distressed. It has to be underperforming. So what? You get it at a discount, and then when you add the money to it, then you sell it at retail or you hold it at retail?
Well, you actually made it, you simplified it, but that's basically what it is. The goal is to make money. If I'm buying something at the top of the market, I'm already at the top, where else is it gonna go? So if I'm buying it and I'm supposed to be an investor, and I give you a hypothetical number, if the property, I don't care if it's a flip, I don't care if it's a wholesale, I don't care if it's a short sale, I don't care if it's a buy and hold. That's irrelevant. That's what people get caught up in. Yo, how you finding your properties, Welby, man? Yo, do you do tax liens? I don't care how the property gets presented to me. My number one question I'm gonna have to find out is, if I'm flipping it, what is this ugly duckling going to look like when I'm done with it? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? What is this ugly duckling gonna look like when I'm done with it? So if the realtor or the people that work for me, because we didn't even touch on that yet, if the people that work for me represents to me and prove to me that this property is worth 300,000, I already got a starting point. 300,000 what it will be. So now you gotta be a futurist. You gotta realize that this ugly piece of shit property I'm about to buy, if I show this shit some love, it's gonna be worth 300,000. So if it's gonna be worth 300,000, how much money do I have to buy to fix it? So by the time buy it, so then I can fix it, so that now I could say, hey world, look at this ugly house that none of you guys wanted. It's worth 300,000 now, but I'm only into it for 210. So now when I sell it, I make my 80, 90,000. That's my reward for the work. That's my reward. So I didn't understand that process. I didn't understand that concept. What I'm doing is not nothing new. I didn't create it. It's been going around since real estate's been a thing. But we weren't schooled to it. You understand what I'm saying? So my play with that is that I don't buy retail because my goal is to make money. So I got to look at a property that's not performing well, that's distressed, that maybe someone else doesn't realize the value of it, i.e. gentrification, that they don't realize what the value of it is. So I could buy it at that price point so I could put it back on the market to sell and make some money.
And but isn't there a way to do retail and wait for the appreciation?
Okay. Our brother Jude is Jude Bernard, that's our brother. He's the master at that. I don't do that. That's what makes real estate so beautiful. We put an event together and there was 5 titans in real estate, and each and every one of us do it totally different, but we each are powerhouses. So there's no one way to do, but if you talk to each and every one of us and you talk the basis of the foundation, we all do the same shit. The foundation is the build up for your business. Once you have your foundation on point, however way you're gonna go, because your foundation is strong and that's your lane, it works. You understand what I'm saying? So now when you talk about appreciation, I'm talking me personally. I don't bank on appreciation. I build my own equity. That's what I do. I don't bank on appreciation. Appreciation for me is the icing on the cake for any property that I buy. So any property that I buy, I don't care what market you put me in. If the property is worth $100,000, well, make a round number, $300,000, I gotta buy that property with a gap of a certain amount for me to buy it, so that I have that built-in equity, so I could capitalize on it. Period. Now, here's what.
So you want yours up front. You're not sin hoping.
Here's the thing is, because I gotta know what the market's gonna do now. Because what if the market moves? Not what if, when the market moves. The market is to all the people, I need them to understand this, bro. It's not if. When I talk about the market moving, good or bad, it's not if, it's when. It's going to happen. So when I say we playing hot potato right now, that's what we all doing right now. We playing hot potato. Yo, you got, yo, it's yours. It's yours. So all the people in between that let off that hot potato look like stars until you that sucker that holds it.
They got it,
I've been that sucker multiple times, bro. Yo, my passion for this shit is yo, it's contagious if you stay around with me long enough.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want the people to go through the shit that I went through.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is I'm keeping it real. How many people you know went through it one time and lost and never came back?
Right.
I went through it 3 times.
Right.
3 times.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta go through that. You ain't gotta go through that.
Yeah.
Yo, invest your time and energy in educating yourself.
Yeah.
Take your time. Do it right so that you can win.
Yeah.
The people don't want to hear that, bro.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm the wrong person to follow because I'm gonna be on your ass. I'm being real with you, bro.
Facts.
I'm the, you know that I'm the wrong person to follow because I'm gonna be on your
At
ass.
my best.
At my best.
197.
That's a fact.
Yeah. And so, talk about the importance of having the right team because a lot of the mishaps that happen because you didn't have the right people on your team, and so somebody. They're happy that, I'm not telling you sell drugs. Now, Hov did that, so hopefully you don't got to go through that, right?
Right.
So, like, they're happy you went through it and they're going to educate themselves. But how do they find that team? How do they find a trustworthy realtor? How do they find a contractor who's not going to rip them off? You know what I mean? How do they find, these people, a property management company? Like what's that process?
First things first, I want to make clear to everybody, nothing moves without you. Period. Nothing moves without you. Your realtor, your contractor, your attorney, your accountant, who else? Your mortgage lender. Every single one of these people works for you. What happens is that they convince you that they don't. And they also convince you that you're lucky that they're allowing you to give them your money.
Wow.
You heard what I just said, bro?
Yeah.
These people make you want to believe that you're lucky that you're giving them your money. Every single one of these people that I just mentioned are part of your team. And once you understand that they work for you, then you understand that you need to control the money. When you understand how to control the money, you understand how to control your team. If you're a person, a man or a woman that's with integrity, your intention is not to rob nobody. Yo, anybody will tell you, I owe you money, I'm chasing you to give you your money. I don't want that in my pocket, right? So my intention is to do the right thing. When I understood the concept of the fact that if I control the money, I control my project, is when things started getting even that much better. Now, when you talk about the contractors, the realtors, the accountants, most of these people will never want to work with you. The reason why they will never want to work with you is because most of them don't understand the concept of what I'm talking about, because most of them don't deal with investors. They deal with people that still have the employment mindset, which means they get to control these people to do what they want them to do and dictate to them how they want them to move. When you're a person that's in your square and understand what you want and what you're intentional about, and you tell your realtor, this is what I need you to do and how I need you to do it, and if they can't deliver, goodbye. Hey, Mr. Mortgage person, I need you to give me X, Y, Z. If you can't, goodbye. You understand that. So when you get to understand the position that you're in, then you understand the importance of what they're supposed to deliver to you. And if they can't, you get rid of them. That's when you start weeding out a lot of the bozos that are out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've done. That's what I've done to build up my team.
And I love that. And then so, right now, you built up your team. You have, your portfolio. What's next? Like, what's the grand vision for Welby Accely in the real estate game?
Bro, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I told you I know, I'd be lying to you. The truth is that there's a certain threshold that I want to hit monthly now, as far as with my net income. There's a big difference between gross income and net income. There's a threshold, and I'm pretty close to hitting that. And I don't know. I'm game for anything that's possible. I'm happy with what I'm doing right now. I'm happy in the lane that I'm in right now, and I'm open, but I don't have anything specific. I just want to be able to do what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want my mother to be able to call me or whomever else that I care about and I love and they need, and I said, here it goes, even if I'm bitching and complaining. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. I see something that I want for myself because I work hard. I want to get it. I want to be able to do whatever I love.
That 2022 AMG.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But here's the thing, though, right? Because you have impact, a lot of impact, and you have a big heart, and that's why you're so passionate. So anybody who follows you online knows. Like you give it to them raw,
Yeah.
but you give it to them raw because you're like the parent that cares, right?
Yeah.
For those who didn't see that viral video, right? You got a viral video that went crazy on the internets that literally, you know, lady wasn't paying, but instead of being, you know, difficult about it, you know, you told her she had to go, but you also helped out. Tell us about that.
Well, if I could rewind a little bit earlier, better. This is the importance of why I said educating yourself. Yeah. The only reason why I was able to help this woman is because I positioned myself long before it even happened that I can. Wow. So when we're talking about rentals and stuff, too many of the people today are buying properties with too tight of margins. So then when the what ifs of business happens, they can't move left or right. So now this particular property, it cash flows heavy. Yeah. Cash flows heavy. One of my business models that I try to do is that 1/3 of my properties covers all expenses, including mortgage, taxes, insurance, and everything. The other 2/3 of the property is pure profit. So in this particular property, it was a 4-unit property. My mortgage on that property was only $1,178. So let's just make it $1,200, taxes, insurance, and everything. And the way I set everything up, I didn't have any utilities in my name. That was my expense. Yeah. One floor alone was $1,200. So the other 3 floors was pure profit. Wow. So I'm banking on that in that building in net income $3,700 a month. Yeah. A month. Yeah. So now pandemic happened. When the pandemic happened, you know the game that people were playing. Right. I have relationships with the city. So in that same building of the 4-unit, 3 out of the 4 units is all people that are on programs, not just Section 8. I house different types of programs in my building. So the money came in like clockwork. Right. She took advantage of it and stopped paying me. Before the pandemic happened, I was working with her, and then when the pandemic happened. So now when you multiply, when you multiply the time that went, it was 2 years, she paid me nothing. For 2 years. Wow. So during that whole period of time, I was really passionate to her. I was being nice, and I was warning her. Yeah. Listen, this is gonna end eventually. Right. I hope you're doing something with this. I hope that you're saving your money. I'm trying to encourage her. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Because I know that everything comes to an end eventually. Right. So what ends up happening? She went and she exhausted all the resources that the city was allowing her, that she pocketed, right? And then finally, I got the clear to evict her. So when I got the clear to evict the woman, I was like everybody else, angry. F that, she gotta go. I'm ready to go. What the people don't see in the video is I came there with a team of guys with a U-Haul truck to put all of her stuff out in the street and say goodbye. People didn't see that. Wow. What people did, what I saw when I went there and I knocked on the door, I saw a woman that was terrified. She was scared, bro. Yeah. Yo, bro, I get a frog in my throat thinking about it. So when I saw that, I went back to the guys and I told everybody, hey, listen, everybody, don't worry about it. Just go. And I let them go. And then I came back, had a conversation with her. And I was like, listen, you know what? I can't have you continue living here. I got the court order for you to go. I have to take advantage of it, but I got something for you. And that's when I helped her and I moved the stuff into the storage place so that she didn't lose all of her worldly possession. I paid for her stuff that people didn't know. I paid for her stuff for a few months so that she could keep her worldly possession. And then I told her to follow me. So when she followed me, she's following me in tears. I rolled up into the hotel, went over there, knocked on the door, and I asked them, hey, you know, I need a hotel for a couple of weeks, and I paid for her a couple of weeks. And what people didn't see, I was still taking care of her even after the fact. Wow. So I led with my heart with it, but at the same time, I'm a businessman. I can't have somebody continue living there. So I'm thankful that I was in a position to help the person, but basically that was the situation that happened with the woman with the living in my place for the 2 years.
Wow. Powerful. And another situation I want you to touch on because you have been instrumental in turning tragedy to triumph. You know? And so you had a situation where your tenant burned down your, like, talk to us about that.
I have a tenant that was, I found out later, that was basically doing a seance or some voodoo or something. and was lighting candles. And that's another building I own that I did programs in as well. So they were warned about it. And they were told not to do that. And ironically, they were told not to do that on that Friday. And then they got into it. That's how I got the picture of it, because they told me that the person was doing that. And then come that Monday, I get a phone call that my property is under fire, and basically the person left to work and forgot to blow out the candles, and it burned down to the wood, and it caught fire and basically burned my whole building down.
Wow.
And yeah, but you know, it was a bad thing, but then it was I say it humbly. It was a blessing. It was a blessing. The biggest blessing is that nobody died. The biggest blessing is that nobody got hurt. The biggest blessing is that some of the people that lost their homes in my apartment building, I got a bunch of apartments in the area, and ironically, I just finished 2 apartments fully renovated, and I was able to move them in there. So they weren't homeless for a time. So with that, I learned a lot, because luckily I had the proper insurance. So the insurance covered everything. Luckily I have the proper team as far as the construction company, so I didn't have to go outside to get people to rebuild my building. And I was able to convert this property that was a 3-family, I was able to convert it into a 4-family. And then with me converting it to a 4-family, I was able to double the net income, rental income I was getting, because originally I was getting about $2,300 a month in profit per month. Now by the time I'm done, I should be done in the next month or so, I'll be netting over $4,400 a month in net income out of that property.
And that's like powerful, because that's just kind of a testament that sometimes you don't even see the whole vision, right? And being intentional, helping out is always gonna, you know, like if you have the intention to help, it's going to, you're not gonna be left with the bag at the end. All right, cool. So we're gonna do a lightning round. And what we do here inside the vault, we take bank terms and then we flip them. We flip them for here in the vault, right? So the first term we're going to start with is deposit slip. And a deposit slip, when you go into the bank, you fill out the deposit slip, and this is where you put your money in. But for here, us inside the vault, a deposit slip is a mistake, a money mistake, a slip up. What is the biggest deposit slip that you've made in your career so far?
The biggest deposit slip mistake I made. I mean, with so many, bro.
What's the biggest one? What's the one that just take the cake? If you were to pick one.
Damn, bro. If I have to pick one, it wasn't even in the real estate. It was probably with that water park. That would probably be the biggest one deposit slip mistake that I made.
What was the lady's name again?
Liliana Traficante.
Liliana!
Listen, man, you know me, they call me Mr. Receipts for a reason. Everything I talk about, I have receipts to, not that I have to prove it, but I just need people to understand that I'm being my authentic self, man. I'm not here for the clickbait, you know?
For sure. All right, second term we're gonna do is charge off, right? Charge off, you borrow money from the bank, you don't pay it back, the bank tries to get the money back, but eventually they charge it off. What type of people or mindsets did you have to charge off on your journey?
The complainers. I had to get rid of the complainers and the low key hating mofos. If I could use that word. I had to get rid of them, And I had to, by doing that, I had to be comfortable being by myself. I had to be comfortable being by myself, because it's a lonely road. It has not, and it's not a knock against anybody. Anybody that's doing this, they understand that it's a lonely road. So I had to charge off a lot of that type of mindset or that type of negative energy. I had to get rid of that away from me.
I love that. And last but not least, trust account. Right, trust account, is where you take all your prized possessions, you put it in that trust account, you protect it, you pass it down. For us inside the vault, a trust account are the type of people or mindset that you don't almost have to lean on during your journey. So who or what type of mindset is part of your trust account?
Yo, bro, I'll be real with you, man. Bro, it's kind of hard for me to even say, because I feel a lot of the times that I'm alone. I mean, I'll being honest with you, man. I love hard, but a lot of times I don't feel like I get it. not that you're supposed to be getting it back. I don't feel like I get it back.
Yeah.
So
you and your trust account.
I'm in love with myself, bro. I'm in love with myself.
Yeah.
Without a question, I'm in love with myself. But maybe the yo, bro, I don't know.
Depend on you. Yeah, and so you depend on you, and you depend on your mindset, right? And you depend on like you gonna get it done.
Yeah, that's why I think sometimes it's a crutch too, because I'm at a point where I have to give it up to more people to do with me, not for me, but with me, and I need to do that, but it's just difficult to get the people to understand that, because it's a lot of sacrifice that takes to do this. It's a lot of sacrifice, and then it's a lot of explanations that people don't believe. When you telling them certain things they don't believe, and it's frustrating because you're not lying. You're not lying and stuff like that. So it's just difficult, you know. So All
right, man. All right, y'all. Welby Accely at my best 197. If people wanted to follow you, they want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Oh, definitely. You guys can find me at my website, www.atmybest197, ATMYBEST197. You guys could also find me on Instagram with the same name, @mybest197. And if you guys are looking to get the truth about the real estate game, the good, the bad, the ugly of real estate, you definitely want to follow what I got going on. And I promise you guys that all you're going to get is just the truth and my authentic self. And I just appreciate you guys. And Ash, man, this is a dream come true, bro. I think, listen, bro, I got to tell you, bro. Let me tell you something. Yo, so many people before we got together and we started talking, me and you became brothers like that.
Yes, sir.
And when you meet good people with good intentions and that truly love people and want to see them win, they don't come too much like you, man. Yes, so I just want to tell you thank you so much, because there were some things that I wanted to do and you didn't even ask nothing. You just gave it to me. And there's things I'm doing that if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't have been happening. So I just want to tell you in front of everybody, thank you, brother, and I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right?
Sir.
All right.
There we go. The whole truth and nothing but the truth to help you grind. Welby Accely, make sure you tap in, tune in. We are closing out the vault. You can follow us at Inside the Vault on all social media platforms. Follow me at I am Ash Cash on all social media platforms. I'm going to see y'all next time on another great episode on the greatest money mindset show on the planet, in God's will, same time, same place. Peace!
Peace, y'all.
Oh yeah. You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the ball.